Oh, thanks. I use this. I wrap my hair around it, and then my hair is curly the next day. So,
cool. And it works?
Oh yeah, it works. Like, every day I can show you a picture.
Okay, we're live.
Every day I take a shower, I put this in, and the next day my hair looks amazing.
Okay. We're live, guys. And nobody's on yet, but that's okay.
Are you doing it on Instagram or on
YouTube. Actually, it says we have 3 people watching.
One of the 3 people watching.
Oh, one of them is you?
Yeah, so I can read the comments.
Oh, okay. One person left. Was it you? That person. The link. Did you text me the link? I'm going to post it on the story.
Right now. We literally just got an email sent out to you.
Oh, yes! Joey coming in clutch! I love Joey. He's doing great for us. I put it on our Instagram story.
Okay. I'm gonna step out for a second.
Okay, that's good. You're good. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. There's medicine in here if you need it. Oh, no, you lied to me. It was Michael.
What the?
I didn't even know Michael was there. If you're coming in, come in. I love this.
oh yeah.
And it works?
Yeah, I'll show you a
I've gotta
picture
get
when
you
I'm
one.
done. Well, I made this. It's just a padded headband, with some foam on the inside. But you could use any headband, like even like a headband like this. And then you just, when your hair is like
Wettish?
I can't, if it's super wet, it just takes forever to dry. But, and then I twist it a little bit and then you just keep wrapping it around. And then when I'm done, when it's dry, like, so I can sleep on it because it's nice and soft. And then it doesn't look horrible to like walk around with this in your hair, right?
Right.
It just looks like you did your hair up, and then the next day you'll have curls. And if you have like textured hair, you can do this too, but you want to use like a headband that's satin. So it'll, otherwise
It's not
like,
frizzy?
yeah, because like if you've got any, like a lot of curl in your hair or
Right, because I have
it'll
natural
stick.
curls.
Yeah. I mean, so like my hair is really fine. So I need grip because if I put my hair in a satin one, it would just, that it doesn't get frizzy. And then, but yeah. Or you could put a cap on it too. I think you could put a satin cap on it if you wanted to do. I forgot to put mousse in my hair though. It usually works better if I put a little mousse in beforehand. I did not.
I always find my hair gets crunchy when I use mousse.
Yeah, I'm using some like the Aussie one, and it seems okay. I don't put a huge amount in. It just helps the curls hold a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I just put like leave-in conditioner or something. And it doesn't fry my hair so much because I'm not using heat on it. Okay. Although when I do it, like I have like half my hair seems to fall out of my head. So, but that's just me. I shed like crazy.
I really was scared that I was balding, but I was told you shed. That's
Yeah,
all.
oh
Don't
yeah,
freak
and it
out,
depends
you
on
just
how
shed.
often you wash your hair too. Because like in school, I had losing hair like crazy. But you also just go through phases too in your life too. I mean, when I was pregnant, like your hair like kind of stops falling out when you're pregnant a little bit, so your hair gets like crazy thick, and then afterwards, after you have a baby, it like all starts to fall out again, like in a normal path. But it all seems to do it at once, and then you end up with all of these like little bitty fine hairs, like tons of short hairs, right? Yeah, like an underpelt, right?
I got them. Look.
It was so weird. It was so weird for a while, and you're like, oh, geez, is this how my hair's gonna be? And then it was fine because it got longer, but for a while it looked like kind of scraggly at the roots. Okay, I'm hard. I can't quite figure out where to look with this camera. She says it's down here.
It's great.
It's weird because you want to look here.
Yeah, to look at yourself.
To look at yourself. It's a strange
Down.
camera placement. All I do is seem to take pictures of myself now because of the pandemic. So like here, that's when I took it out the other day.
Wow.
See,
And
so-
look at how nice they turned
Yeah,
out.
that was even like, that was one after it didn't, yeah, see? Like that one's
Wow.
like the second day. So that's,
And it's still in there?
yeah.
I'm
So this was the,
impressed.
right when I took it out. So it'll end up with like waves like that.
That's pretty too.
And then I have another one that's smaller. So when I do it, it's, yeah, like that one, that's this one. So it's big waves like that. And then,
It feels like years since I've seen you. The last
Yeah.
time we saw each other, we were in Kentucky.
but yeah, here's the tighter one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Those look like merch.
Yeah, it's fun. So
Yeah, and because I killed mine. And
It was Kentucky.
All about straightening your hair.
lockdown happened right after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, like I mean, like after spring break.
Yeah.
Because we went on a spring break.
Crazy.
Kentucky.
Okay. So I'm doing regular makeup.
Yes. First, describe all the products you're gonna use.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. And I can talk about substitutes too, because.
Yeah, there's allergies. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and people don't need to spend a lot of money on this stuff too. I just bought a bunch of like Wet n Wild makeup. It's working pretty well. Oh, gosh. That's not what I want.
It's weird because this is delayed, so I can see myself.
In the background.
And I just did the shoulder thing. There it is. It's like 10 seconds. Like, there it is, my shoulder thing.
Sponge. Powder. Well, yeah, so just tell me what I should talk about if I get off track or something.
Okay,
Just
absolutely.
Just tell me,
Well,
like, or ask me questions.
Do you have a comment? Oh, no. I thought you had a comment already. I was like, what?
Oh, it's already started? All right. That's on
Well,
track.
yes, but nobody's on yet.
That's
Like,
okay.
not.
Here we go. That's what I needed. All right.
We tried to do a workshop last month with Professor Warringer, but she never emailed us back. We tried to do an audition workshop because she just had her auditions.
Yeah, they're still happening. Tomorrow's the last day. I think right now only 3 people have auditioned, so you have a pretty good chance of getting in if you send your stuff in
She
right now.
wants me to audition, and I'm like, Laura, no.
Do not do with this singing.
Yeah, I do performance. The lights scare me. I get up there and I can't see, and I'm like, and
Incomplete. All right.
Queen Helene,
That's-
triple whipped cream.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's primer.
Oh yeah, I still have mine.
She's the best, Arlene. Okay. Oh, and I guess I need. I bet I don't have mascara in here. Oh, I lied. I do. Oh no, I think I tried this out this summer and it was dry. Maybe. Seems
I
kinda
got my
dry.
whole kit if you want me to go grab
No,
it.
I'm good. I can be like, here's mascara, put it on. It's okay. You'll be fine. I did hours of makeup tutorials, recording them, so I'd have them for my class for the first part. Because like I can find plenty of tutorials about the rest of the stuff, you know, like how to do scary makeup and what it's like the stage makeup that's a little like you can't always find people who like they don't.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first workshop. This is Professor Aly Admidei, and she is our costume and makeup professor here at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. She's going to give us a tutorial today on stage makeup basics.
Hello, everybody. So just so you know, I'm looking at a mirror in front of me and the computer in front of me, and I'm having a hard time lining up my eye line with the camera lens. So it's not because I'm trying to not make eye contact with you, but if it looks, it might look a little weird. Anyway, so I'm going to talk to you about stage makeup basics. I would encourage you, if you can, to attend, I think 2 o'clock, 2:30 maybe, 2:30 to 4, I think, with Geraldine Lanier, who's going to be talking about stage makeup and hair for African-American actors, which will be great. I've attended her workshops before and they're amazing. So I really encourage you to do that because you need to it's really helpful to understand how to do makeup and necessary, especially if you're a designer or an educator, to understand how to do makeup and hair for the full spectrum of the humanity out there, not just yourself. As an actor, of course, or a performer, you only need to worry about your own face. But I think it's helpful to know how to do all the other things because you never know when those skills might come in handy in terms of like employment or something. So if you have that in your toolkit, it could lead to better employment opportunities, right? So, so you're going to see things on my face, which might not apply to you, but I'm going to try to talk about how you can find the right products and the tech. Some of the things. So like I have a professional stage makeup kit, which like I have products from both Van Nye and Mehron is another company that you can use, Mehron. Van Nye and Graftobian is another one. Cinema Secrets is another one. There's a couple others. And those are specifically made for theater makeup. And they are highly pigmented and also hold up under stage lights, right? Because one of the things we have to do when we're doing stage makeup, like why we do it, is to compensate for the effects of lighting, the effects of distance, and also to create character too, right? I also think about stage makeup as sometimes it's a part of your ritual as a performer. It could sometimes be a form of protection. Think about like getting into character. Putting on your ritual can be really important, especially when you're playing a role that is very different than you, or can be like a traumatic role. This could be kind of a layer of like, I think of it as like a transformative process to get to that, to get into that mental state that you need to perform, right? So I started with a clean face. I just washed my face. That's really important. You want to make sure, most people get breakouts, complain about breakouts, but that's mostly because they haven't cleaned their face properly or they're using their face after the fact. They've done makeup. So making sure you keep a clean face, start with a clean face, and then make sure you're cleaning your face when you're done is going to be really important. You want to moisturize your face too, especially if you're in a show situation where you're doing multiple performances over and over. So I've put moisturizer on before I got here. I usually use an SPF as well, because that's going to be super important if you're, well, to keep your face from. I'm afraid. Anyway, so wearing sunblock is going to be really important for outside performances because you don't want to get sunburned. And that's for everyone, not just a pasty skin tone like myself. I know sunscreen can be kind of tricky for deeper skin tones because sometimes it'll read like a little bit like kind of like a whitish purple haze on people, but there are specific sunscreens out there that work better with deeper skin tones. You just have to hunt them down in the wild. I have a list if you need them. You can let me know. I will give it to you. Okay, so I put a little, this is some like cheapo Ulta foundation primer. I put this on. It kind of gives a smooth base to start. This is especially good if you have textured skin, like from acne scars and whatnot. And then also if you've got like tends to have dry patches, it'll help in an unattractive way. So probably the trickiest thing for everybody to do is find their right base color, their foundation color, right? So these are professional makeups. So there's a ton of them, but you can also use street makeup too, right? So like this is, and like I would tell you the names of these things, but they change every year because like this one's called Fair Female, but there's nothing that means that this can only be worn by women. It's just a color, right? Like I have plenty of male actors who have used this color, but I think recently all the makeup lines have tried to rename their makeup to be more PC because a lot of them were like I have one in here called, oh yeah, this one, Geisha. Very appropriate.
Just for the name.
I mean, it's just like, why is that? Like there's a much more accurate term for this shade. That doesn't mean anything,
That
right?
means nothing.
So now they tend to be named after like coffee flavors now. I do have a death purple, which I hope they never do, and mocha, sable, that kind of thing. So finding your right skin tone, skin color foundation is really tricky. For stage, you usually want to go a little bit deeper than your like what you'd wear for street makeup. So I'll talk about street makeup, which is what you'd wear like every day. And then stage makeup is what you wear on the stage. Now in a space like the size of our studio theater, Black Box Theater, you can often just get away with street makeup because it's a small space. You don't need that much. You don't need to go crazy, go nuts on things, unless there's a lot of really intense lighting, or you're doing a character, right? But for this one is probably too dark for me. Or too deep for me. Let's see. It's okay. It's hard to tell. So yeah, this one's okay. In the thing, I'm like, this might be a little pale. Actually, no, I was worried it was going to be too dark. But shades in them. Usually they come with like 3 bases in them. You buy a kit, at least 3, sometimes 4. That way you don't have to be completely perfect. Plus, because you're probably going to have to mix your makeup, right? Like you might have to mix 2 different shades together to get the right one. Or if you're like me, my skin tone varies throughout the year because I spend a lot of time outside running. So in the summer, I'll get lots of freckles and sun, even wearing sunblock. And then in the winter, I will revert to my soft fish belly color of paleness, right? So I need more than one. So then that's probably going to be similar for many people, right? And then also, depending on the space you're in, you might have to amp it up. Now this is just showing you where it's going to go on your face. And, so I don't know, like having you tell you about my color is not really helpful. But so I will put a thin layer all over my face, and then depending on what I'd be wearing on stage, I'm going to deal with my neck. Usually I'm going to like fade it out. Depending if you're really significantly altering the color of your skin, you're going to need to do your ears, the back of your neck, all the way down here. It makes me get hives as a costume designer to think of you putting makeup on your neck, because then that means it's going to get all over your costume. But it's sometimes necessary, especially ears too, especially people with shorter hair. And a lot of times ears will get like really red on stage and start to like look see-through and glow. So sometimes that makeup can help that. And then yeah, if you're changing the color, you layer on. So now how I usually do it is then I will then start working with highlights. If you watch the YouTubes, the beauty gurus will do all of these things in very different orders. So I recommend watching many things and trying things out for yourself and what works best, right? Because what I do is going to be different than what you do, right? And also what people are doing for like beauty stuff is often really different than what you do for the stage. I mean, not too different, but different enough that like they blend a lot more than we actually need to. And the beauty of stage makeup for like a big theater is it doesn't have to be completely perfect, because no one is that close to see how much you messed up. It's very forgiving. Whereas like the HD of YouTube is not forgiving, right? So Jeffree Star is going to get a way better blend than I'm ever going to. For film, that would be something totally different, because you do have to worry about high definition for film and television, right? Okay, so I put some highlight on. Oh, I need a brush. So I use a lot of these little like spongy poos, right? You can get in big bags from Ulta or Sephora, not Sephora, Ulta. You can get them at Walmart. I also use brushes. Now you can buy like fancy, this is a Ben Nye brush, but you can also just go buy a bunch of cheapo like acrylic painting brushes at Walmart for like $5 for a pack of like 5, and those are fine. And you can get these in a big bag too. You could even wash these by sticking them in like a lingerie bag and reuse them, but you want to always make sure it's a clean one that you're putting on your face, because that can lead to acne. Also,
sponges at the dollar store.
Sponges from the dollar store for sure. You can use, I use these too. These kind of like, these are like fancier beauty blenders or something. There's a good too. And you can wash these too. I will sometimes put these in the dishwasher too, like in a little, but in my washing machine, they'll be okay too. I usually don't put them in the dryer. I'll let them air dry. Make sure you're clean, just keeping things clean. I am not talking about sanitation stuff right now. I'm assuming that you're only using your own makeup, because there's a whole extra layer of fun times that comes when you're putting makeup on other people that you need to be concerned with cross-contamination, especially right now when like the Grim Reaper looms. So fun, everybody. It's the apocalypse. All right. I'm gonna hit a little more highlight up here on your brow bones. And so like where you're highlighting things are things you want to come forward in space, and things you want to emphasize. And then we're going to put shadow on things we want to move back in space. And it's going to be kind of like, that's how we're going to sculpt our features, right? And do some, a lot of makeup books will call it makeup, right? Because I think there's nothing wrong with your face. So there's nothing you need to correct about your face, but some people will call it that, right? Your face is fine, but this is just doing enhancements to your face, right? So there are all kinds, like if you watch, like I said, the beauty gurus will do all kinds of extra highlight things. Like they'll put like all this like highlights around their like Cupid's bow to make their lips look puffier and stuff. And you are welcome to do that stuff. Depends on what I'm doing for a character or a makeup. But remember, for theater, doing this makeup, you're doing it during your call time. So whereas like I said, the YouTube beauty people have all day to record those videos and upload them and make them perfect, where you are being paid a disgustingly low amount of money to do your job as a theater artist. Do you want to spend 2.5 hours and then before you go on? I think so, right? So think about that, right? Time is money. All right, so, okay, I put highlight on, so I'm gonna start putting shadow on. So shadow, you can use 2 different things. It's also called contour in the beauty world. And this is a character shadow from Ben Nye, and this is a powder contour, and this is from Mayron, right? So you've probably, some of you might have contour kits, and those will be good too. They might be powder-based or cream-based. Like I've got a couple different ones. Here's one that I have bought from Amazon. That's a corrective palette. I think I paid like $10 for this. It has a bunch of different contours and concealers and some color correction things that you can do. Like I say, you've got like purple bags under your eyes, you can put some yellow on top of it. If you've got a lot of beard stubble you're trying to cover, you usually put some orange on top of that. There's all kinds of things. Watching drag queen makeup tutorials is really helpful for learning color correction and contour tricks, I find, because they know how to to really, really sculpt their face to the extreme. So it can be really helpful for theater. Okay, so I'm gonna start putting contour on. And so like where you find this contour is you want to like spend some time playing around with your face, feeling your bones on your face, where the structure of your face is, because where it is on me is gonna be totally different than where it is on you, right? So I'm putting it right. Hope I got some on my sponge. Right on my cheekbone. So now, do you need to go and spend money on expensive stage makeup? No. You can buy a lot of stuff that will work perfectly fine at the store, at the over the counter, right? And there are, I have some videos I could share with you if you have questions, or you can find a lot of them online on YouTube. Like people like doing store-bought stage makeup kits. Like I recently just invested buying some like of the cheaper brands at Ulta. Like I bought a bunch of Wet n Wild and some Essence, like the lower cost ones, and experimenting with them, and they've been working pretty well. I was really impressed with the Wet n Wild one, because that used to be like when I was a kid, that's what everybody wore, because we only had like $1 to spend on lip gloss all the time, and a lot of it is still only $1. So I was impressed with. I bought like some students are using it for their foundations, and it looks good. So the thing about that stuff is it usually doesn't last as long. It might not hold up to really intense lighting, and it also might color shift after a while, meaning it tends to oxidize with heat and wear, which you definitely are going to get when you're on stage, right? So it might kind of start to look a little orangey on you, but that might not happen only after 2 hours. That might happen trying to wear it all day for 8 hours. And even expensive makeup does that too. You'll find reviews talking about how it oxidized after a couple hours. So it's a great way to get started on your kit. If you don't want to invest in a makeup, a full-blown stage makeup kit, you can start there. Okay. I am Okay, that's you. Is that you
Yes,
asking me? I was like,
you could say.
I was like, there's 2 cameras next semester, and I'm not. I'm currently teaching it this semester, asynchronous online. I'm happy to do more of this if we need to. I'm teaching costume design next semester, and then now that I've got the class online, I'm hoping we can do it again online because I think it actually works better online than it does in person, which was a surprise. But because people don't have time constraints, so they can. Plus, I can share more videos that lets more representation, like because it's really important that you understand how to do the makeup, that you're seeing people doing makeup that look like you. I don't look like everybody, so it doesn't really help for I'm not certain by looking at me putting on makeup, it's not serving all the people, whereas I can do all these lectures online where I talk about it and then I show other videos to supplement it, and that's really helpful. And people are going to be in a classroom and just be watching YouTube videos, like just sitting here, no one would watch them. I mean, they might not be watching them at home either, but seems like the work that they're doing is pretty impressive. So I also think it's because people, this is just something different to do by yourself in your house right now in the pandemic that can be kind of fun. So I've been finding, even though no one sees me, I've been putting a lot of I've been buying lipstick like crazy, even though no one sees my lips. This is like the first time a human has seen my lips. That is not my child or my husband. Beyond Instagram, right? But I've been playing around with eyeshadow and stuff because it's something I can do and express myself. And okay, so I put some shaping down the side of my nose. Here's where you can do things like corrective things if you want. Like if you feel like your nose is wide, you can narrow it by bringing your highlight a little smaller and then putting shadow down the side. You'll see a lot of the gurus doing really fun things using highlighter. They often use like a shimmery highlighter too, so they have like a glam kind of look. That doesn't always work on stage. You might look sweaty as opposed to glamorous. So it's I don't think it always works in real life either, but sometimes to each his own. Okay, and then I've done some stuff around my eyes. So depending on how like hooded your eye, like I have pretty hooded eyes, right? So there's not much I can emphasize up here, but unless I'm like spending my whole time on stage doing this, you don't see a lot of my eyelids anymore unless I do some some wig tapes like the drag queens do, or I get an eye lift, which I'm not going to do. So depending on how your eyelids are and the shape of your eyes, you might do some more work on highlighting in that area. Especially if you have really deep set eyes, you're going to want to put a lot more highlight in that area because stage lighting is going to emphasize the depth of your eyes, right? And you don't want to have those eyes are really expressive and necessary for the audience members to see you as a actor and a character. So even more so now, especially if you'd be wearing a mask on stage, right? So you might want to really highlight that area, bring a lot of emphasis to it, especially if you were wearing a mask. Okay, so I've done some highlights and some shadow. I would move into the point where I'd start doing beauty type things like blush and maybe eyeshadow. You're going to want to put usually some sort of eyeliner on, and this is for both. This is for everybody would do this routine that I just did, right? So like depending on your character on stage, if they're what kind of the character's gender, and if they are also then wearing, if it's a character who wears makeup, which could be anybody, just regardless of gender, right? But there are going to be different things you're going to want to do. So pretty much everybody is going to need some sort of eyeliner and some sort of blush and often a little bit of mascara. This is especially important if you have blonde or lighter eyebrows and eyelashes, then that is going to make your eyes kind of disappear. A lot of people will wear fake eyelashes. Like I have some like monstery ones right here, and eyelashes will do amazing things to help make your eyes pop on stage. And you can get them on all sizes, like from little natural looking ones that will help emphasize your eyes, but still would look like you're wearing no makeup on stage, to giants, right? Like that'll be more for glamorous characters, of course. So you can, and that could be for all genders could wear those too. Typically I find that, often a lot of, annoyingly, men have better eyelashes than women.
I know they're like
And it
luscious.
makes me want to cry. Maybe it's because they don't abuse them, but I mean, this
Oh,
is
well,
I'm making broad gender generalizations here, but I find it's very annoying.
I feel like I've always had short eyelashes.
For the most part, like my son's eyelashes are very enviable, and I'm like, what? It's not fair.
You didn't get those jeans for me.
Mhm. No, I mean, I actually have mine are okay, but it's still not quite it's obnoxious. Okay, so I usually do blush and stuff before I powder at the end. Different people will do this in a different order. Typically, deeper skin tones, you might want to do a thing called baking. I mean, everybody does this baking thing, but a lot of times you want to put like a more of a yellowish powder here, like a light, usually it's kind of like a buttercream yellow color, like right in your highlight areas, and then use a slightly more closer to your skin tone powder on the other parts of your face, right? So that you're really kind of like making that makeup set. Here, I'll show you what I mean. I did not clean the table before I squirted on there. Let's hope no one did anything gross. Where you're gonna like go and press all of this makeup in, and you're gonna, I don't know if you can see it, I'm leaving that powder kind of on my face, and I'm only doing a little bit. If you want to do a hardcore bake, you're gonna put a ton of powder on your face, and you're gonna press it all in. But then you would leave like the lighter shade powder, like the yellow color here and here, and like in your areas that you want to highlight. And then you're going to put the more natural skin tone colored powder in the other areas. And then you just kind of leave it, put a ton of it on, let it set for a while, just let it kind of soak into your makeup. And then later you'll come in with a brush and brush it off, right? And I think, if you come tomorrow, Geraldine's going to show you how to do that. You can see a lot of videos about that. If you just look for like baking your foundation, you'll see lots of tutorials about that. So let me finish doing it. So for me, I will just put some on my face, the powder on my face with one of these little puffy poo things. And then I will brush it off, right? If you're doing a lot of eyeshadow with a lot of color in it, sometimes people will leave all this powder on their face because then any eyeshadow fallout will come onto that powder. And then you can, I can post some links. Then you can brush it off too. Other times people like put a piece of toilet paper right here to catch that eyeshadow fallout. Some people do the eyeshadow before they even do any of the base makeup too, which it's something I always like remember to do that after I've already started on the rest of my face. I'm like, oh, especially if I'm doing like some like gothy eyeshadow too, then it gets everywhere and you have to then put like a crap load of concealer on. Okay, so for stage, like then you're going to put a little blush on, and just to look like healthy and natural, because when you've used a foundation that has such full coverage, like this makeup has really full coverage, it will kind of like take away any life from your face. So you need to add back a little glow. So I've just kind of put it in my like apples, your happy cheeks, right? And then you just blend it up. Sometimes you might need a little bit up here on your forehead too. And then you've got kind of a natural neutral face. So now from here, I would go and put a little eyeliner. If you want it to look natural, you'd use a brown. Oh, hold on. This has not been used in a while. Okay. Usually I put it below my waterline, because if I put it above my waterline, it just makes my eyes look smaller. Some people, like if I'm doing for stage, I would do that. Sometimes for stage, like if you're doing dance makeup, you'll actually put like white here and then put your eyeliner pencil below that to make your eyes look even larger. That's a good like trick for like anime look for cosplay too, when you want to have those big like anime eyes, right? And then for dance or dance and theater, you often don't want to close, like go all the way to the corner here. You sometimes want to leave it open because that's just going to make your eye look smaller, like I just did. And then you might do a little wing-a-ling out this way, right? I don't know if you can see that. I'm doing it badly, but that way you're making, and you can put more white in there. Like this is like the dance eye. You'll do this. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then you put white in there. So that's one way to do your eyeliner. With brown, it's going to look pretty natural, so that's good for everybody. If you want to look like you're wearing makeup, you're going to want to do black. And then generally, liquid eyeliner is going to be really good for on the top too, to have a more glam look. But that's like a period makeup look, right? Because that's not something people would have done in every time period. Like, so if you were doing like a play in the Elizabethan era, liquid eyeliner was not a thing, right? They don't have that, so you wouldn't do that. You would probably do a little bit of this to help your eyes read, and then you would do some mascara to make your eyelashes pop, but you wouldn't do much in way of anything other makeup. You might put a little bit of neutral eyeshadow up here to emphasize the crease in your eye, and maybe a little highlight here, but they didn't wear makeup like the way that we wear makeup now. So you'd want to just do like, the whole point would be to look pretty natural, right? So then once you've done your eyeliner, I usually go and do the mascara, and I usually would recommend a waterproof mascara. Industry standard is kind of like the Maybelline Great Lash waterproof. It's like $5. It's really cheap and pretty useful. You mascara something that you want to throw out a lot. It goes bad pretty quick. You don't want to share it with other people, and you want to replace it often. So don't go buying really, I mean, I have a bunch of like mascara that is like, was giveaways from the store that I use a lot of. And then I don't feel bad about throwing it out afterwards. Like that's what this is. This is a Benefit Bad Girl Lash or something. But I like just bought this Essence waterproof. That's amazing. It's like the best mascara I've ever had, and it doesn't come off, and it costs like $4 on Amazon. So like, that's what I'm going to use for the rest of time now. I'm not going to be buying $20 Urban Decay mascaras anymore, or MAC ones anymore, unless I'm getting them for free from a special gift or something. So once you do your mascara, you can then go put on fake eyelashes. You could also use an eyelash curler. Like, I don't know if I have one with me. They're little torture looking devices that you put in and clamp. And those work well for everybody because they can really like they bend your eyelashes up, right? What else? So from here, yeah, I could start doing beauty makeup and eyelashes. You'll notice that my lips are sort of super pale now because I went over them with foundation. So you're going to want to go back over, do something with your lips. You could just use a lipstick. You could use a lip liner. Depending on the natural tone of your lips, you might be okay just putting some lip balm on them if you have a really rich or deep color about your lips. Some of the things you can do with your lips is you can do a lot of stuff to shape them and change them for your character. Like, I'm just using a little pink color. You can make them look larger. They can be smaller. Your lip shape and your eyebrow shape and your eyeliner shape and even your blush shape are really going to be based on the time period that your show is set in, because these are things that really change. I don't know. I can't think of how many changes have happened within your young lives. But for me, I mean, there's a whole group of people that I know that like devastated their eyebrows in the 90s. Thanks, Drew Barrymore. With her little like pencil, she had that like super thin eyeliner. I didn't do it. Mine have always been kind of on the, this is how they've looked forever. I didn't really pluck, but I always wanted those Brooke Shields bushy brows from the 80s that were very popular. And I'm like, oh, but everybody went and overplucked like crazy in the 90s to get Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Aniston eyebrows. And now they're all filled with woe now that Cara Delevingne and whatnot have brought the eyebrow squad back in full effect, right? Yeah, thank you, everybody. All right, so like that's some neutral lips. So like on stage, that might end up being too pale, right? So in here, I look fine. I look like I have a lot of makeup on in here. But from your point of view, you might not be able, I mean, I don't know, you can probably tell a little bit that I have some makeup on. But if I went on stage right now, this might end up not being near enough. So I might have to come back here and amp everything up. And wonderfully, that's what dress rehearsals are for, right? Is you try these things out. So I often will have people do a little, do just enough the first night, and then we'll go crazy, go nuts the second night of dress rehearsal, and then hopefully we get it just right the third, for the final dress, right? Sometimes you get it right the first time, but you never know. Okay, and then Cameron's asking if there are opportunities to do makeup for shows, and there will be. There might even be this semester because you'd have to check with Rachel Engstrom about the dance concert because usually the dance concert that's still happening, and they often have makeup things, but I'm not sure. The next semester, I don't know because I think Sea Rock City will be. I don't think I'm not sure. I mean, I think we'll have to be doing something because it's going to be filmed on stage, right?
Mhm.
So there'll be, and I'll be under stage lights, so there'll be something. I just don't know what the crew stuff will be around it. There's certainly research and things to be done for all of these shows, right? And the same for Migrant X, right? There'll be makeup and that sort of thing. There'll be hair considerations. Yeah, I mean, so there's some stuff, but it's not like I just got makeup on my pants. It's not like it usually is. I just saw that my lips are uneven. Okay, there you go. So it's not like what it usually is, but in a normal year, there's usually a lot more. But that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities. You might reach out to the film groups on campus. They might be doing stuff. There's certainly going to be, I'm trying to do my own research and I would welcome people to experiment on their own and let me know how successes is makeup for Zoom, right? I've been trying to play around with how much makeup I need to look good on the camera. As I've been doing a lot of seminars and webinars and that sort of thing. And I just felt like every time I looked in my computer screen, I looked like hot death. So I went and bought some like intense makeup from Sephora that was like full coverage, like a spackle went over my face, and it was a little darker, a little deeper than my natural skin tone. So it's not really something I can wear out, but it looked better on camera. So I'm finding because like the ring light was washing me out so much, just like this room is, right, a little bit. So I wanted something that was going to it was also going to hold up during a session, right? And so that was and then I was finding I couldn't use shimmer powder because then that would look sweaty on the camera. I had to use a matte. I only use matte highlighters and that sort of thing. So anyway, it's an experimentation phase that we're in right now. Okay, what else should I? I talked about Wet n Wild stuff, but you can also other brands that are store-bought brands that I think are good. I mean, at Ulta, Juvia's place. I've been liking their stuff. It's a Black-owned makeup brand. I just bought their base and I really like it. And they have amazing, really highly pigmented eyeshadow palettes. Mented cosmetics too, and Juvia also has a really huge range of base colors too. So from the palest pale to the deepest, color, right? So you can get a lot of you're going to be able to find what you need in terms of color ranges. If you a little higher price version of that would be Fenty is really good for a variety of makeup for foundations. It works pretty well on stage. It's also highly pigmented and then has some lasting power. MAC is really good for pigmented makeup that is often used on stage. Pretty much most of the brands at a higher end makeup place like Sephora are going to be fine for the stage. But at the Ulta level, like in the less expensive area, like the Juvia's place, what's the one that Jeffree Star's brand is in? Morphe, that's okay. I bought some, Morphe makeup. They have good eyeshadows and bases, or not bases, eyeshadows and blushes. And then I just bought some like Revolution cosmetics, which I just bought some under eye concealer that seems okay. And it was pretty inexpensive. It was like $6 or something like that. And did I say mented cosmetics?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's another Black-owned brand that has a huge spectrum of skin tone foundations, though they start more at like an olive skin tone and go up. Like I wouldn't be able to buy a base there, but they have good lipstick. They have a great nude lipstick selection, which is now being sold in Target too. Because before you could only buy that online from them, but now their range of nudes. So they have a nude for every person, because nude is not just one skin tone, right? It's everybody everybody has a nude. So they have a full range of like neutral lip tones, which is great because that's often what you need on stage is to look like you're yourself, but usually your face on stage needs a little bit more amplification, right? So that's a good brand. My favorite, oh gosh, most of my makeup is from, I have a lot of Benefit brand makeup. I have a lot of Urban Decay because I like sparkly things, even though I don't wear it very often anymore. I don't go to clubs anymore. It's boring. But I still like that stuff. I have some MAC. I've been trying lately. I've been buying a lot more from Black-owned brands because they are doing more exciting things anyways, and just to show support. So I've been really enjoying the stuff that I've been buying from those brands. But I think I buy a lot of stuff from NYX or NYX. Some people call that because they are I buy that because that's a great brand for students because what they pretty much do is copy the formulas of other brands that are more expensive and popular, right? So they have a good range of foundations. They have great like setting powders. They have great like eyeshadow primers, which are really, like, if you're like me and have like kind of oily eyelids, that keeps your eyeshadow from migrating all over the place. They have, good setting powders, good foundations. They have pigments. They sell pigment powders at NYX like they have at MAC, but the MAC ones are like $20 and the NYX ones are like $6, and you can often get them like 50% off. So those are great for doing fantasy makeups or body paint. You can mix it with, a medium and make it into a body paint. That stuff is really great. So I love that brand. It's also cruelty-free, which is important. And that one's a good one. And it's available even at Walmart. You can get it at Ulta, Walmart, that sort of thing. So to take this stuff off, my favorite, so like stage makeup, so this might be different for your regular street makeup. You can probably just use like whatever rando cleaning supply that you use to clean your face, like a sensitive skin, like Neutrogena, foaming scrub stuff. That stuff usually laughs in the face of stage makeup. Like, it will not remove it, right? It will not get your skin clean because this stuff is intense, right? So I usually, my theory is in order to take grease off your face, you need grease. So I use Queen Helene triple whipped moisturizing cream. And you buy it in this giant vat. It looks really good with my like fancy new nails.
And it's like $4.
It's like $4. Usually you can get it I usually get it at Walmart. It's usually in the beauty section for African-American beauty section is usually where you find this brand. Usually there's like an aisle where they kind of like stick a bunch of products for, it's like often by like where the cocoa butter cream and stuff is too. So it's like, you have to hunt for it, but it's really worth it. And I use this to take stuff off my face. It is also cruelty free. So yay them. I'm all for that. As much as you can pay attention. And usually how you can tell that there's an adorable little rabbit on the back of the makeup product that tells you, or it'll say like cruelty free on it, but whatever. So I will use this. So this is just like, it's like cold cream. Your grandma might've used it back in the day. And so you put this on your face.
Can I take a picture of you before you?
Yes, please do. Before I
We'll do it before and after.
Yes. One thing I probably didn't mention is this chin line thing can really save your life. Is this can like make you look way younger and thinner, is this chin shadow. And if you were in opera, you would do this even more intense. You could really cut this line pretty intensely. You can also do things like raise or lower your forehead a little bit, depending on like if you think you have a really super high forehead, you can put much more shadow right up here. I have kind of a low forehead, so I usually will try to highlight as much as possible up there. If I was doing something really low cut, sexy time stuff, I would like do this in the, I don't really need to emphasize my cleavage. Nature has done that for me. But like if you wanted to make those look, you want to emphasize the ladies, you can add some highlight and shadow in that area too. You can also do this with your abs and your six pack. Like people do that all the time. Like there's a bunch of pictures of like spray painted abs on like soft-bellied opera people, especially when there's a distance there. You don't have to worry about people getting all up close to knowing that there's actually no abs underneath. They're there, but they're not packed, right? So you can do clever things like that. Okay, so to take this up, can you guys grab me some tissues or something? Paper towels is fine. So I will just rub this stuff on my face in circular motions. And then lift it. This won't really, I usually will use an eyeliner. I get for my eyes, I like to take off mascara. I use Lancome's eyeshadow eye makeup remover. It's like an oil-free eye makeup remover. It's really gentle. Neutrogena has one that's pretty good. Yeah, I would try to just go with those sensitive skin brands that will take that stuff off your face. You could also use baby oil too. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I just wipe it off, and you can see like it does a trick. And sometimes I'll do this more than once. Usually I would recommend not using the scratchy paper towels of the dressing room. No, it's okay. I have a towel in here that I've not washed in probably a year, so I'm not going to use that.
There are wipes down here. Do you want to do
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm good. I'll just rinse it.
I was looking for something softer.
Yeah, you can get makeup wipes too, like baby wipes and stuff, and that'll help. Sometimes I'll use a baby wipe to do the initial first wipe, but this stuff works like a champ, I think. And then from here, once I get this first layer off with the Queen Helene, sometimes I'll have to do a second one, and then I will then go and use my like hoity-toity face cleansing stuff, right? I have one of those like Sonic things too. I will sometimes use. But yeah, I find this helps, and then it keeps your face from getting too irritated, because a lot of times the acne comes from when you are abusing your skin, like just like rubbing it too harshly, that sort of thing. So, okay. Thanks. Oh, you're great. That's good. I'm good. I will take the rest off at home. Yeah, so that's how I clean it. And so then I would go and wash it one more time with a because this is like this has quite a bit of, it's got like, mineral oil. It's all the stuff that you don't necessarily want to leave on your face forever, but it takes off the makeup real good, especially when you're doing like say you're doing a blue alien or something. This is going to take that off in a hurry. Then I use that to clean my brushes too. It keeps the brushes from drying out, which is nice. Then I will go wash and then put moisturizer and, serum or whatever on my face. And then, and then I try to treat it as nice as possible in between. I mean, if you're doing a 5-show week or something, this could be a little intense on your skin. So you want to try to be as nice as possible to it. So for a basic makeup kit, so for actors, I would recommend, like, if you are considering doing this as a career or even as a side hobby, like you're going to audition at community theaters or something while you have a full-time job, that's awesome. I would say get your own kit, because if the COVIDs have taught us nothing, you don't want to be sharing this stuff, right? If you don't have to. I mean, sometimes you have to, right? Because it's a financial or there's something specialty related about it. But if you can get your own, it's worth it. I mean, as a student and if you're a student now in the theater department, I mean, these are purchases are like school supplies. So if your parents are claiming you on their taxes, or you're claiming yourself, then these are school supplies. Like the same way that you write off your textbooks, I hope you should be writing that stuff off on your taxes at the end of the year. These are school supplies that you'd be buying for your job as a student, right? So as a professional in the theater, when you leave here, then these would also be work-related expenses, right? So I keep track of that stuff and write it off on my taxes at the end of the year, because it's a part of my expense as an actor. And I don't know how many professions can write off Wonder Woman glitter eye makeup. So there's that. Tell that to your parents next time they want you to change majors. But hopefully they don't. So I would recommend getting your own. And so what you need, the basics, I try to limit the amount of products I use today, just so you know. You need something to clean your face. You need a base, like a foundation. You need that's close to your skin tone or just a little, like a step or two deeper. You need a highlight of some sort. So for someone like me, it might look like this. For someone with a deeper skin tone, it might be more of a golden yellow color, or it would just be, think about doing it this way. You want to get a base that is your color, your skin tone, right? So this one, then you want to get a highlight color. So it's usually at least at least one, if not 2 or 3 steps lighter than this color, right? So like if you were going to Sephora or Ulta and buying like a stick that matches your color, like I also recommend a cream for stage as opposed to a liquid makeup or a powder, right? So you get a cream that matches your skin or is a little bit deeper, just a touch deeper. And you get something like 2 shades lighter. And then you're going to want to get something that's like 2 shades darker, at least 2 shades darker to be your shadow, your contour color, right? Or you can get one of these and get one of those like all-in-one contour kits, right? Like this, like something like that. You want to get something with a blush. Like I have one of this thing, which is like a bunch of blush colors and highlights all in one. You know, I think I paid like $10 on Amazon for it, but you could just get, you know, simple blush. Sometimes you can get a blush that's a cream, and then you can use that as both your blush and your lipstick for your neutral lips. That'll save you money there too. And then you want to kind of want to get a powder, something to set your face, and like a puff or one of these. Like I usually use both of these, but so a neutral setting powder. So I'm using a color set powder from Mayron that is a like translucent kind of like white looking one, which on your face like soaks in and will go away. And this is good for everybody because this is especially good when you're doing fantasy colors like blue, etc. You're not going to want to put your buttercream yellow or your deep like chocolate colored makeup on top of a clown, or else it's not going to look good anymore. So if the other thing is you could get powder that matches your skin tone. Like this one is a little bit more colored to match my skin tone. And just like I was talking about that baking technique where you'd use like a buttercream yellow color and then more of a deeper tone that matches your skin, you're going to want those plus something like this to do fantasy makeup, a neutral powder. And you can get those at Ulta. I just bought some the other day for like $4 from the Wet n Wild line. Last would be some mascara and an eyeliner, maybe a lip liner if you want. And those are good. You can also use a setting spray, like a foundation setting spray. A lot of different companies make them. NYX makes one. If you are very sweaty or you're doing outdoor theater, that's helpful. And they're not too expensive. And then what else? Yeah. Oh, and then eyelashes. Getting some fake eyelashes is going to be necessary for a lot of people, especially if you're doing music theater. You're just going to need them. Just buy a lot of them. You're going to need tons of them, which means you need glue too as well. And I didn't mention sunscreen and then cleanser. So those would be some basic things, and then something clever to hold it in. I have a vintage caboodle over here, which you cannot see, but it's majestic. So something like that. A shoebox will work as well.
We have posted Aly's makeup kit on our Instagram.
It's beautiful. I have several cases too because I just overdo it. So Cameron asked me if you have your undertones, about your undertones, and that's really important to know. There's a good trick for figuring out your undertones because you're either cool, neutral, or warm usually, right? So a good way to do it is to get something white and something off-white and then hold them up to your face and see which one looks better, right? So like if you, like this is pretty white, and then if I were to go find something, there's something in here off-white, but right, like you'd hold up something off-white and you'd see what looks better, right? Now I am kind of in between. I can wear, so like if both look okay, usually it's pretty clear. Like you know right away, like I can't wear that color. You know, you usually know right away if you're cool or warm. If you look good in a lot of things, then you're probably neutral. Like I can kind of do both. The other way is a jewelry test. You can see like, do you look better in silver jewelry? Or do you look better in gold jewelry? So silver's going to be cool. Gold's going to be warm. If you can do both, then you're great. The other thing is a vein test. Like if you look at your veins and if they look, I think I'm not gonna remember it right. If they look green, they're one thing. If they look blue, they're I think if they look blue, then you're cool. And if they look green, you're kind of neutral. And I don't remember what
purple?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I have videos for all those things too. I just made my students do this as an assignment. I can't remember it myself. So like, but knowing your undertone is good when you go to pick out bases in the store, because a lot of bases will talk about the undertone, like it's for a cool tone or it's for a warm tone. Sometimes neutral is referred to like that. It's often when you have a lot of olive tone in your skin, which like you look at me and I don't have a lot of olive tone, but I tend to like, every time I get something cool, it often looks a little pale on me. And then every time I get something warm, it looks too pink on me. So if I stick in the neutrals, I'm usually okay, right? Yeah, but that's helpful to know, because then usually the base color you get will have some things to neutralize some of that stuff. So if you've got a lot of, if you have a lot of yellow undertones in your skin, sometimes the base will help kind of neutralize that. The other thing to note is you might be more than one thing and more than one base color on your face, right? So this is especially true of people with deeper skin tones. You usually want to pick out, you might have wildly different pigments all over your face, right? So now some people will tell you to match it to your cheeks. Some people will tell you to pick it by your neck too. So I've seen a lot of videos will tell you to pick it by your chest color, because then that way, if you're wearing something low cut, then everything will match, right? Because often, like especially like right here at your forehead, this is going to be where your skin is usually has the most color, because that's like where, unless you wear bangs all the time, you're getting the most sun right here and right here, right? So think about that. Sometimes if you match from your, like right here, it's going to be much paler. So I'm giving you a lot of wishy-washy answers, but that's you're going to have to play around with that, especially if you know you have a lot of different pigments on your skin, right? But there are a lot of good videos I found. Sephora has a lot of really good tutorials coming out, especially since the pandemic, since they've had to like really, since all their stores shut down, right, for a long time, they put out a lot of content digitally that was really helpful, I found. And especially there's been, everybody is like realizing that there's a whole world of people out there that they've been ignoring as consumers. So a lot of these makeup brands are rushing to like, oh, right, I should be selling to you too, not just Becky from Evanston, So a lot of them are waking up to that, and you're going to find much more educated staff in the stores, as well as much more content on the webpage that is supporting the full spectrum of humans, not just Becky. So yeah, you'll find some good information that way. Recommend learning how to do your makeup, both masculine and feminine. I think, well, a lot of the stage makeup stuff is pretty neutral. So I think a lot of it, for me, I think about it in terms of character. So what is your character doing, right? Because we certainly have a lot of characters that are on stage that are gender fluid, gender queer. I mean, there's all kinds of things there too. I mean, so it's like, what do you think about, it's like a lot of it is your personal feelings on it, and then some of it is going to be what the designers designers and directors are envisioning, and also what the audience is going to understand too. I think you kind of need to take that into account too. Now, so there's certain things that as a society right now we are trained to associate with different genders, right? So like when you see blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, and lipstick, you think that that's on a woman, but that's increasingly not the case, nor should it be the case, right? So, I mean, every day I see some fabulous person out. My barista the other day was wearing an amazing sparkle eyeshadow that I noticed. And so you don't like that, those gender norms, which are not norms, they're just like what society told us was the norm, right? Are breaking down all the time. So we can feel free to push back on those things too. So how you express that in your makeup is going to be, it's pretty flexible right now, right? So a lot of people tend to associate masculine looks with more angular features, with more rugged I mean, there's also things like facial hair and things like that. So if you're trying to, and then where feminine features are going to be associated with more softness, more roundness. So there are things like, so if you want to try to push your face towards one of those like normative looks, it's easy to do that. So like if you want to make your face look slightly more quote unquote masculine, you can push it that way by emphasizing angles, right? I mean, there's little things like men tend to have their eyebrows are usually a lot lower to their eyes than women's are. I mean, that's also because women tend to pluck their eyebrows out, right? So, but that is one of those things like, oh, well, you could make your feet, like if I wanted to make my features look more masculine, I would definitely fill in my eyebrows, right? I would also usually give my face a little bit more texture, right? Because I mean, there's nothing, like if I were to remove my earrings and things like that, I mean, if I just added some more texture to my face, it would look a little bit more masculine. It's mostly because like men typically are shaving their face. It does a lot of damage to their face over time. So it tends to look more textured. They also tend to have more sun damage because they're not wearing as much sunblock and products and stuff. So there are the ways to do that if you're trying to push it in one way or another. Often on stage, more masculine, you're going to want to, sometimes men need to put a little step up their base color even one step more, because often using a base color that matches their face will tend to make them look feminine. And I'm like putting these things in like air quotes because that's all BS, right? But it'll be the opinion, like he looks too pretty, I'll get that note. And I'm like, that's not the kind of note you should give. So we need to do something, or I'll have an argument that maybe we don't need to do something, right? But that'll sometimes, I don't know if that's answering your question, but but often the things like the cosmetic things will push it towards another gender. But like I said, it's all changing right now. I mean, I've seen even when you go into the Ulta right now, they will have men they have all kinds of people in the ads for makeup now working at their, on the ads and the pop-up displays. So it's all a whole new world, a whole new exciting world of where you don't need to worry. You don't need to feel confined by that stuff, which is exciting and long overdue. If you have, I have a question about working around scars on the face. So if you have anything fresh, you don't want to be touching it with your makeup because it could, for cross-contamination reasons, also because it could make it worse, right? Coverage of scars. If they're old scars, you can do a lot to cover them. You can, if they're reddish, you would use a green to kind of neutralize it. You can also use, there are different concealers that are more hardcore than others, like Kat Von D. Oh, Kat Von D is a brand I like too. I didn't say that. They have amazing eyeliner. Really good eyeshadows too. She good lipsticks too. But they have a great tattoo cover up because, she's like covered in tattoos, right? So they have a good tattoo cover up, which is pretty good on scars too. Dermablend makes a great, really thorough and mostly waterproof tattoo and scar cover up. They've started out as like a medical makeup brand, so they're really good for that. So they have like a whole body makeup too, so you can cover a bunch of stuff if you need to cover tattoos or scars, and that works pretty well. There's a great YouTuber that I watch her videos, and now I'm not gonna be able to think of her name. She's from somewhere in Africa, and she had a lot of, I think she was attacked by acid or something, or maybe it was fire. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, she has a lot of facial scars, and she is a makeup beauty guru on YouTube and does hair and stuff. And she does amazing work on her own face and other people's faces, like teaching them how to feel more confident about their face and dealing with scars and stuff. So I will see if I can find that woman's name. It's on my Instagram. I follow her. But so there are a lot of other tutorials out there, but a lot of it is about color correction. So knowing the color wheel and then having the right color in your kit will help cover things, right? And again, on stage, we can get away with a lot more than you could get away with in everyday life, right? So, okay, so a recommendation on how to talk to the designer with your comfort on being trans and what makeup they will wear right? So yeah, this is a good conversation to have, and hopefully hopefully these conversations start early. And now, if your designer is aware, hopefully they've started this conversation with you from the get-go. But unfortunately, you're going to likely encounter people that don't know how to deal with you as a human in general, and especially as a trans human, right? Even and this applies to many people. You will find that there will be people who don't know how. Like if you have a deeper skin tone, they won't know how to deal with you if you're Black, and they don't have any experience working with Black actors or dealing with textured hair. And hopefully this is changing, because everybody should know how to, if you're a professional in this field, you should know how to deal with everybody, right? And if you don't, then when you encounter somebody new that has a need that you need to meet as the designer, then you should go and learn and educate yourself when you encounter that person. But you unfortunately will find that there are people who don't care and don't want to learn or grow or engage in the world of the future, right? So you might have to be more vocal about your needs. I mean, I think right away you want to make sure that I always make sure I ask questions in the beginning. And now I've been moving towards doing I want to do like a survey that sends online, so that people can start broaching issues that might be sensitive without having to do it in person for the first time, right? Because that could be a little weird. Be like, tell me about your binder. Right in that could be a little an odd conversation to have, and for when you just met somebody, especially if a student professor relationship. So, but like things about this is also where your director comes in too, because it also depends on how they've cast you too, right? Mm-hmm. So what your character is on stage and how they're presenting, right, is also going to affect your makeup. Yeah, so trying to be open, and then finding an ally anywhere in the production, I think, is helpful too. So if you're having difficulties with a designer, or you're having difficulties with a director or the stage manager or somebody in the cast, is finding somebody else who is kismet or understanding, and they can help you. So like if the director's not getting it, but the costume designer is, enlist the costume designer to help tell the director, no, his name is Bradley, not Stephanie, even though that's what the syllabus or the right, like that can be the person that helps correct someone when they're misgendering, misnaming people, and also being like, what I say, Brad will not be wearing lipstick. Brad will be wearing just corrective base makeup, and will be dressed in men's clothing. I don't know. Does that help answer your question? And then if there are no allies that you can find, then seeking outside help might be the best step. If it's an educational setting, you have options. Whereas if it's a professional theater world, you have less options. And so if it's professional theater, if there's a NED, which is the non-equity deputy, or if it's an equity production, you could talk to the equity deputy. If it's a regional theater, they often have an HR department. If it's a union production, there are union representatives. And there are also different organizations that are around supporting actors and performers too around this. But it's hard. You're gonna hopefully people are getting on board, and a lot of people just, it's not willful ignorance. They just have not encountered it before, have never had to deal with this before. So have some grace. I know that's hard to give grace to people who are wasting your time and also causing you pain, but hopefully if they will learn, and then they will not do this to the next person that comes along, right? I definitely have made mistakes since I've been here, and I've been really thankful for the generosity. So that is, sometimes you just be like, if it's hurting you, just leave. I mean, just like then, and you have to stop. You also don't need to be the one that educates people on your identity, right? Too. Anything? What else? Anything else?
Is there anything that I feel like we've covered a lot?
Yeah, I don't know.
Piercings and makeup.
Yeah, piercings. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of this is hard when you have a lot of piercings and then your character doesn't. Then you should make sure you have spacers. And as an actor, if you have tattoos, you should assume you have to cover those. Like that's not something that the company will provide for you because you are the one that went and put all the stuff on you. So you should be prepared. Same thing with piercings, that you should be prepared to deal with it. I mean, if you go into the audition with your tattoos loud and proud and they still cast you and then tell you need to cover all those up, then you could be like, yo, you cast me. You saw that I have a dragon eating Pikachu on my chest. Then this is what you get, right? So you could sometimes get some pushback, but I would just say it's safer to invest in the tattoo cover up now. And that way you're covered. Same thing with like, anything specialty wise. I would recommend to people understand how to do their own hair, everybody, because there are a lot of people that don't know how to do it, don't know how to do hair. You might even, I mean, if you're serious, you might even have some wigs laying around too that are decent, like some neutral wigs, especially if you've got funky hair. Like my hair's pink on the bottom right now, so I would make sure if I was going to keep a crazy hair color, I would make sure I had a wig that was neutral, because as an actor, the pink hair would limit me from getting audition work without having a more neutral hairstyle. So that's something, especially if you're planning to do a lot of commercial work, you might have some hair pieces or hair extensions that match your natural hair or look like your natural hair. That'll just give you some more versatility. That's tricky though, because say you go to auditions, like say you have textured hair and then you go to an audition and you had your hair silk pressed or flat ironed for the audition, then they cast you and then you show up with your hair natural. They might be like, whoa, you had straight hair when you auditioned. And so they might want you to maintain that style. So think about that before you go audition, like, or if you're willing to do that. I mean, if it's just like a commercial, it's not a big deal. But if it's like you're on a TV series and now they want you to show up with your hair straightened every time, then that's a commitment from you for your hair, right? So it's just something to think about. Yeah. I don't know. Think of anything else. But if people have questions, you can email me. You can find my email on the university website, and I have videos I can share. I can just share you the link to my YouTube makeup board, and you can find them that way. And then then take my class. Show up tomorrow to Geraldine's thing if you're there. And but I self-taught, so you can. And I just did it from books. That was before YouTube. So now my niece knows how to do all this stuff just from watching Jeffree Star videos, and she's like 10. So she's going to be better than me. I mean, I like every year, this makeup class I have right now, everybody's way better than me. And I'm like, I got to stop teaching because they are so much better than I am and all this stuff. So anyway, so you can get a lot of these skills just by the University of YouTubes and experimentation on your own face. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. So I just want to thank everybody for coming today and Aly for doing this for us. We will put links in the comments to any videos that she sends us. And we will also have links to our Instagram, which is also Nina Theatre Troupe, if you want to check that out to see upcoming events, which for the rest of October, we have a play reading on October 22nd, and we're going to be watching Rocky Horror Picture Show on October 29th over Zoom. Nice. So to get links for that, just follow our Instagram. Thank you guys all for coming. Yes, I want to.